Okay, so is my screen visible to everyone? Okay, so welcome to today's session, and the topic that we are taking today is horsemen of the apocalypse. Does this ring some bell in your mind? Have you ever heard this phrase anywhere? Any idea what it is all about? Okay, that's great. It's a phrase taken from Bible. Great. Anything? What else? What does this apocalypse means? It's a term from a Bible. Basically, it's a what do you call it? From the New Testament. Bible has two parts, the Old and the New Testament, and it's a metaphor which has been taken from the New Testament. Okay, great. Well, that's correctly stated, Kinjal, where there are four horsemen who bring about or are messenger of the end of the world. Truly said. So that is, it has been taken from Bible, telling about there are four horsemen who are actually the messenger or the carrier of the end of the world, end of times. And according to Bible, they are the war, hunger, thirst, death and conquest. These are considered as the four horsemen. But what are they doing in a marriage? We are talking here in terms of marriage. So what are these four horsemen doing in a marriage? How can they be related? Any idea? Very correct. Very correct. Here we are talking about the apocalypse, the end of the marriage. So we are going to discuss about these four horsemen who are the messenger, who are you can say the sign which show that the marriage is moving towards the end. So we are going to discuss about these four horsemen which are present, if they are present in a marriage. They symbolize kind of the end of marriage, or the marriage is coming to an end or towards the divorce. So this is what we are going, it's actually the communication style of the couple, the way they communicate with each other, which ultimately leads to the end of the marriage. So what are these four horsemen? Oh, great. They stand for criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and contempt. Rightly said. Yes, very true that these are the four horsemen if they are present in any marriage, and if they are not dealt with properly, if they are not treated, they will lead to an end. And obviously, as a marriage counselor, when a couple comes to the counselor, it becomes very important for the counselor to find out these four horsemen if they are present in the marriage, and they need to be treated, they need to be sorted out if we really wish to help out the couple. So let's talk about these four horsemen. Thank you, Riddhi. You have really brought out all the four Yes, it's Gottman's concept, correctly said. Right. So let's discuss about these four. And so as you can see, the four horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. So these are four horsemen which come galloping into the marriage of a couple. Many a time it's unknown. They don't even know that this is happening. These four things are entering into their life and making their marriage a hell. So it is something which the couple has to be very careful about, and if they don't take care of it, definitely it will lead to end of the marriage. Okay, so coming to the first horseman, the first horseman, and which is a very very common which you will find in many of the marriages. It's not that just presence of this one horseman will lead to divorce. No, but yes, it is, you can say, the starting point. It is a sign, a signal. If it is entered into a marriage, it is a sign that probably the marriage is moving towards maybe towards divorce, or obviously not a good relationship. When we talk about criticism, and there is another term called as complaint. So what is the difference between the two, criticism and complaint? Can we have the answer? What is the basic difference between a criticism and a complaint? Okay, complaint is asking or pointing out a mistake. Criticism is personal attack. Okay, rightly said. Yes, criticism is negative, nagging about personal things. True, very true. Complaint is stating of one's feeling, perception. In criticism, one always not happy about others' work or things. Yes, always poking, like complaints are more usual things. Right. It's correctly said. Complaints are like more of bringing the attention towards maybe a certain problem or a certain issue uh, in a in a very calm way. But definitely criticism is related to complaint can be related to certain specific issues, which is at that moment the problem. But if we talk about the criticism, it is the attack. It can be an attack on the core personality of the partner also. And obviously no one likes to be attacked on the personality, on their character. So that is the basic difference between a complaint and a criticism. Complaint is normal, it's good in a relationship. One may have certain things, certain issues, and they may want to bring out to the notice of other partner. So it's okay, good. But criticism is not okay. It is the beginning of the marriage getting deteriorated. Okay, so let's see two examples. Here we have two examples. One is like one partner telling the other one, I was scared when you were running late and didn't call me. I thought we had agreed that we would do that for each other. Another statement is, you never think about how your behavior is affecting other people. I don't believe you are that forgetful. You are just selfish. You never think of others. You never think of me. Okay. So now, what do you think? Which one of the two examples is criticism and which one is a complaint? Okay. Second is criticism. Okay. Right. So basically, we can see that the second one is criticism and the first one is complaint. It's a simple simple statement, maybe from a wife's side to the husband, that you were late and I was scared that why you haven't called till now. It was a genuine uh, fear that one partner is having towards the other one. But in the second case, we can see that it's a direct attack on a person's personality, on the character, telling that you are never concerned about anyone, you don't think about anyone. So basically, it is showing that the person is careless, the person is not taking care of others feelings and all. And that is definitely criticism, right? So it is this criticism is something which we none of us like. When we get criticized, when someone is like kind of pointing towards us and telling you are like this, you don't do things like this. So no one of us likes. And if that happens between partner, if they start criticizing, if they start pointing out, if they start judging them on the character, characterizing them, tagging them, definitely it is leading to the downfall of the relationship. Okay. um Although still we can't say that just being critical about each other is means that the marriage is coming to an end. Okay. But because there are more deadlier things, the other horsemen, they are more deadlier than criticism. But still, it's an indicator that one needs to work, because criticism can lead to hurt. The partner gets hurt. They don't feel like interacting. They don't feel like if they are continuously being criticized. So that communication breaks between the two partner, that love, that affection breaks between the two partner. And if this criticism is appearing, yes, it is very insulting. And if it appears again and again, maybe for once someone may ignore it also, but if it is appearing again and again, definitely it will lead to the entry of the second horseman, that is contempt. So here comes the next horseman, that is contempt. And contempt is something which is considered as one of the most destructive or one of the most negative behavior in a relationship. Can anyone give me some example of contempt? What exactly is contempt? What is contempt, and like how it is different from, okay, defensive behavior? Okay. So how exactly? Looking down upon partner and no respect. True. That is something which is a contempt is looking down. You know, when there is kind of the respect for other partner disappears. Treating other with disrespect, mocking, you know, calling out things which are not very respectful, sarcasm. That is what is contempt is. And your body language, and contempt is not only the words, it's your body language which is showing, like kind of rolling your eyes and looking at a person with a contempt and disgust, and that is something which is very, very, very negative. And it's basically what do you call it, the main target of contempt is to show the other person as worthless, as despising the person, showing him that you are useless, you don't know anything, you are like this. So trying to show the person that he is not worth. Yeah, making a comment from a superiority mindset, yes, definitely it has a certain amount of superiority also, or trying to tell the other person that he's not good enough. That is contempt, and it is very dangerous for a relationship. So this is an example of uh, how a contempt can sound uh, from a partner's point of view. Like if he's this is a scenario maybe where a husband has returned from his office, and the wife is full of that contempt for her husband, and oh, so you are saying you are tired, what do you do in the office? Just sitting in the front of laptop, and and you're coming back, and you have started playing with that idiotic video game, and I'm running behind doing all the household work, and I'm so tired, and look at you, you are so lazy and you don't understand. All these words are full of contempt. They are full of a disgust, a feeling of disgust towards the person. Okay, and the whole of the language itself is, it has gone far beyond criticism. It has gone far beyond that respect is lost. It is now directly a target on the person's character. So that is something which um, obviously no one is going to take it in a very good way. It is not going to create any love, any affection towards the partner who's saying out all these words. It is nowhere going to create any bonding between the two partners. So this contempt is very poisonous actually. It poisons the relationship. And if we talk about this contempt, it doesn't appear all of a sudden. It is somewhere, some negative feelings which have been which may have been simmering somewhere inside the partner for a very long time. And when then gradually relationship moves from criticism towards contempt, so all those feelings of that the person is having towards the other one, they come out, and they come out in the form of a contempt. So it's a direct attack on the person's personality or the character. And contempt is definitely one of the important predictor of a marriage moving towards divorce. So as a counselor, if as a counselor, if you see that there is some kind of contempt which is building up between the partners, so definitely it's a red, warning sign that maybe this marriage needs more efforts than just some simple counseling. Okay, so now from criticism to contempt, and then what next? Next comes the third horseman, that is okay, that is defensiveness. So before moving on to defensiveness, let us understand a basic difference between, we have already discussed the difference between complaint and criticism. Now let us see a difference between a complaint and a contempt. So these are two statements. One is like, did you call your parents to let them know that we are not coming? And another one is just that I was just too busy today. You know how busy my schedule was. Why didn't you do it? Sorry. So one is a complaint and one is a defensiveness. So which one is a complaint and which one is the defensiveness? Yeah, there is a sound of contempt also, and along with that, it is carrying a amount of defensiveness also. Yes, it is carrying amount of defensiveness. So once the marriage moves on from criticism to contempt, it enters into defensiveness, wherein the person is trying to protect himself, and he's actually trying to put all the blame on the other person. So in this case, basically now what has happened, it has moved on to moving on to like accusing the other person of all the problems in the relationship, and trying to safeguard himself from any sort of thing which is happening in the marriage. That is defensiveness, and that is the third horseman of this the third horseman which enters. And basically in this case, what happens, every time whenever there is anything happening, any kind of conversation happening, immediately the person becomes so responsive to any kind of conversation that they immediately start defending themselves. They immediately try to put blame on the other person to save themselves, and kind of they start playing like an innocent victim of the whole thing that has happened, and they try to show that they are the victim of the whole scenario and the other person is the culprit. So this is something which never works. Basically the person trying to be a victim, sometimes they may become very emotional also and things like that, but it is not going to help out in the marriage. And somehow, again and again giving this type of defensive comments will happen that the other partner will stop taking his or her partner very seriously. They'll feel that he's always coming up with some excuse, he's always trying to play a victim card, and definitely this is not going to help in the relationship, because in actual, no one is ready to take the responsibility, and they are trying to put it on each other. And if no one is taking the responsibility of the marriage, then definitely the marriage is not going to work, and which is not very good. So putting on blame on the other person, accusing him of not being responsible, uh, pointing out that it is his fault, uh, and not being able to understand other person's point of view, other person's perspective, is something which will always enhance the conflict. It will lead to escalation of the conflict, and no one will be ready to take the blame, because it's a kind of a blame game which is going on. No one will apologize ever. They will always try to put blame on each other, and obviously the relationship will move on further to be more moving towards a more disastrous condition. And then finally, all these three conditions will lead to the last entering of the last horseman, that is stone walling. When there is a contempt in relationship, when there is criticism in relationship, when one person is always defending himself, there is always argument going on. So ultimately at the end, what will happen? Maybe one of the partner will simply shut himself down. He'll start stop responding. He'll he will have no wish to have any kind of communication, and they'll feel that it is getting too much for them, and so they are not able to handle it, and so they'll shut themselves off from the whole of the conversation, which is, you can say, the last straw to break the camel's back, which will bring the relationship to an end, because now onwards there will be no communication between the two partners. It's like building a wall between both of them, and it is such that it now they're not able to break it, because that thing, that contempt, that criticism, defensiveness is continuously going on, and it is only making the wall bigger and bigger. So this stone walling is not easy to stop. One can't stop doing it. The person feels so flooded with emotions, with certain things, that he's not able to think rationally, and it is very, very difficult actually to deal with this scenario. So basically, this is how one by one the four horsemen, who are the symbol of destruction, enter into the marriage, and they finally bring end to the marriage. Sorry. So now my question is, are there any ways through which these four horsemen can be stopped? Are there any ways to deal with these four horsemen? Okay, talk therapy, right. So basically, they'll need a counselor. Doing it by themselves will not be possible. So here comes the role of a marriage counselor. Enhancing love maps, okay, therapeutic interventions are needed. They have to start before the relationship reaches this stage. Yeah, it is something which has to be done, but many a times, the couple are not able to see that their relationship is moving towards such a disaster. It just starts with the small things, and then it goes on and on, one after the another, and action reaction, and ultimately by the time they realize, it's quite late. Yeah, definitely that is something which has to be done, but not every couple is what you can say, mindful about, so much aware about the relationship. Yes, awareness of such red flags are necessary to identify that there is a problem. So that is what I'm saying, that not every couple is able to see these red flags. It just goes on. It's simply the couple start taking each other for granted. They don't see there is any harm in what is happening, but maybe after days or months or years, they reach, finally when they realize, it is like the fourth, the third and the fourth horsemen have already entered into their life, and so it is very, very difficult. So as a counselor, especially when as a counselor, or even if as a couple, if they are able to identify these four horsemen, it's very, very, very good. And obviously, like it has already been said, that from the very first horseman, they need to start working over it. And if they do it, then definitely the other ones will won't enter. But if all the horsemen have entered into the life, then what? Then what can be done? What should be done? Yes, any suggestions? Let's assume that as a counselor, a couple has come to you, and the very first thing, how are we going to see that whether the couple is having these four horsemen or not? Okay, yeah, Sneh saying some couple tests and activities. Yes, rightly said. The very first thing which is needed is certain couple tests, which will help to identify the presence of these four horsemen. There are certain couple tests which are used for identifying whether these four things are present, four horsemen are present in a marriage or not. And that is the most important thing, the first thing, because only after that any kind of measure can be taken. Yes, definitely by using these tests and activities, the counselor will be able to assess the situation. And okay, so they need to start from a new page if they want to protect their marriage. Focus on the problem, not the person. Give them a second chance to talk to each other. Yes, couple test assessments are already there. The spouse who does this would never accept it. Then how can we treat? See, uh, if the couple is coming, that means they are ready for the change, then only the couple will come, otherwise they won't come. That is for sure. Or even if like one couple is coming and another one is not coming, then definitely this will not be possible. So it's important that, you know, both the couple need to be present, because single-handedly one couple may try, you know, the one couple may try for some time, but if the other couple is not responding, then definitely you know, it is difficult. So presence of both the couple is important, and if both the couple are coming, that means they are ready for the change. So then definitely you know, in this case, as a counselor, using the tests, the assessments, they can be told about what are the problems in the marriage, and then they can work upon you know, their relationship. So if you see this whole of the concept of horsemen, uh, basically if you see, they are based on negative communication. The kind of communication which is going on is destructive. It is a conflicting pattern, communication pattern, which is going on between the couple. So what is important in this case is that from a negative conflicting communication pattern, they need to move on to a more healthy communication, and that is the change which has to be brought in the relationship. And as a counselor, one has to help out in developing that healthy way of communication. So for this, there are certain antidotes. They're called as the skills which can be used to resolve the conflict and to develop a positive feeling between the partner. So for each horseman, there is an antidote which needs to be clarified to the couple and help them understand. See, they'll have to work over a relationship which is in such a disastrous condition. It will not change automatically. They'll have to work over it. They'll have to, you know, together need to do certain things, so which will help them to resolve their problems and bring back a healthy relationship. So for each of the horsemen, there is an antidote which the couple can use. So the first one, which is criticism, we already know what it is, wherein the person is focusing on the flaws. There is a blaming, you know, they're just trying to point out on the other person. So what can be antidote for criticism? So for this, it is important that the couple needs to understand that instead of you know, immediately pointing out harshly over things, they need to start you know, gently. There need to be a calm and gentle way of talking, conversing with each other, and pointing out towards the problem rather than the person himself. So in this case, the couple, you know, there need to be certain things which need to be cleared out to the couple, telling them that if there is any problem, first of all, they should not try to, if they had a conflict, then they should not try to resolve it immediately, because it is a heated moment. And however they will, how much they'll try, they'll end up using harsh words to each other. So for that time being, you know, they should not try to resolve the situation then and there. They should save their discussion, their conversation for a better time, when both are in a calm and peaceful state of mind, and then they should talk in a more gentle way. So the start up, the conversation should start up with a very gentle words. More importance should be given to the I statements than you statements. You did this, you should have done this, rather than that telling that I am not happy that this has happened. I am not happy that so and so thing did not go in this way. So instead of that blame, if it starts with the gentle I statements, with a more positive body language, more positive tone of voice, so obviously that criticism which builds up the whole of the problem, the criticism which starts actually and then goes on to the next step and the next step, so that problem will be resolved then and there itself. So a gentle startup is very, very important, and that needs to be explained to the couple, and the couple has to understand this. So that is the first antidote. Then moving on to the next one, which is defensiveness. We already know that defensiveness is basically making excuse for the behavior and trying to put the blame on the other person. So that is defensiveness. So in this case, again, everything starts with a gentle startup, and most important thing is that instead of blaming on the other person, trying to own own over their own behavior, trying to apologize. See, in this case it's important that the person should be able to apologize rather than blaming others. This is the time when certain positive feedback, more of a gentler feedback can be given to the other person rather than blaming the other person, telling them you should have done this, you should have okay, it can be said that yeah, probably I should not have done this, I should not have raised my voice, but I would have been happy if you would have understood my condition, that I was also tired all day taking care of the children, and I was frustrated, and when I saw you sitting there I lost my temper. I just wanted you to ask me how was my day. So it can be, rather than putting on the whole blame, taking that responsibility is something which can help out in defensiveness, and that is the antidote for defensiveness. Moving on to the next one, contempt. Contempt, we already know, is it's a way of putting down, insulting, mocking, which can be very, very hurtful. So that is for dealing with this thing, the most important thing is building fondness and admiration for each other. There should be a shared feeling of respect for each other, because these are two opposite things. If there is a respect and admiration for each other, definitely there can't be a place for contempt. So it is very important that for a relationship to be away from any kind of contempt, it is very important that there should be a respect and appreciation for each other. And this respect and appreciation is not something which is like just by saying that yeah, I respect or I appreciate. It has to be shown. It has to be shown through the body language. It has to be recognized by the other person. The person should be able to understand that yes, you truly love, you truly respect, you are truly affectionate towards me. So for this, it is important that both the partners should complement each other time to time. uh, they should try to help them to find their strengths, uh, telling them positive things, giving them positive feedback. All these things are something which helps in building fondness and admiration towards each other. So if this fondness and admiration is built, definitely contempt will move away from their life, and that is something which is very, very important. And finally, coming to the last horseman, that is stonewalling. This is something which is very difficult to deal with, because in this case, uh, the partner is emotionally withdrawn from the other one. They've shut down from the other partner. They avoid any kind of discussion, conversation, and the, it's very difficult for them to resolve any problem. So if there is a case of stonewalling, if there is no conversation going on, if the person is withdrawing, in that case, it is very, very important that at that moment, the person should, instead of focusing on the partner, the person should focus on himself, becoming more self-aware, trying to calm down themselves, using relaxation technique, using certain techniques to soothe down their emotions. That is very, very important. Unless and until the person is not in a calm state, he will not be able to move ahead. So it's very important at that moment, both the partners, they should, just, they can at that moment, they can move away from each other, maybe move on to uh, different rooms, use certain techniques which helps them to calm down, maybe doing some kind of hobby which they love doing, or using certain relaxation meditation techniques, certain progressive muscle relaxation. The ultimate goal is to just calm down themselves at that moment, not trying to resolve the situation at that moment. When all these things will be used, then definitely to some extent it will help them out to resolve the problem. It will help them out to come out of these four horsemen which have entered into their life. So these are like skills, they need to be learned. They are not something which will just innate and they'll just come out all of a sudden. They are certain skills which needs to be learned. And as a couple, when a couple sees that these four horsemen are entering into the life, they are coming galloping, ready to break the marriage and all, they need to relocate their life, relocate their emotions, and start working over developing these skills. And once they develop these skills, they'll be able to save their marriage. So that is something, and as a counselor, I think that is the role of a counselor, that they should help them out to learn these skills. And if they help them out, then definitely they'll be able to save the marriage. Okay, so I think there is a question. The couple will take the first step because of pressure, but when we point out issues, they take a step back, refuse further counseling. uh, well, definitely it's a difficult task, bringing the couple together and helping them out. uh, that is the reason, like, somehow they have to be convinced that if they need to work over their marriage, if they need to make out their life better, they have to work over it. Or otherwise, if they are thinking of the second option, that is the divorce, then there is nothing more left. So obviously, if a couple who's not thinking of a divorce, then definitely they will be ready to work over their relationship. And even if there is a slightest of the chance that they are ready to work over it, then it is important that they need to be explain things. There certain couple activities, there are fun couple activities which can be done to first of all build that that friendship in the relationship which has been lost. When they'll start doing it, then definitely they'll move on further to improving their relationship. So that is something which has to be done, though it's difficult but not impossible. So any other questions? I'm done from my side. Okay, what do you do when they just cannot accept each other, are not also willing to correct themselves? They have reached snowballing, but just talk for the normal routine in life. See, again, this is again in this condition also, again, the thing is that the couple activities, because they have reached up to the stonewalling stage where they are not able to have the conversation. And for building the conversation, there are certain couple activities which are given, which have been when Dr. Mittal's book is there, which has these couple activities. So the ones who are having the marriage counseling, so some of them may have got it. There are some certain fun couple activities which can be done, and these activities will help to rejuvenate their relationship, rekindle the relationship. It will bring back that that spark. And once that spark is back, then definitely they will start moving towards. The most important thing is that the conversation to take place. And unless and until they are not in the mode of conversation, they will not reach to any conclusion. So this couple activities will actually slowly melt that that wall of ice which has been created between the two people. So first thing is that using those fun activities, telling them that okay, you don't need to talk, but then you can use these activities in your day-to-day life also. So when gradually they'll start doing it, it will melt down the ice, and then they can start working over the various areas of problem that they have. That is how it has to be done. So that's it from my side, and thank you so much for all of you. So I think now we should end this session for today.